Hi guys, welcome to Tekkel Blitz, which is a bit of a roundup and a catch-up. Ons het lanklaas met julle gesels en ons wil graag 'n bietjie met julle chat en ons wil graag hoor van julle af. Julle gevoelens oor die Bokspan, what went down over the last couple of weeks. There's been plenty said in the media, plenty not said in New Zealand, but that's a story for another day. But yeah, Heini, how's it?
Yeah, always good, always good. It's 2 weeks into the Rugby Championship already,
Yeah.
and I think there's a lot of banter going around, especially from the New Zealand people, especially now that they bounced back after losing very, very badly in that first one
Yeah.
against the Argentines. So they are back. They are back, and hopefully we will see a good test match between the Springboks and New Zealand.
And guys, we're not talking about the New Zealand fans. We're talking about the pundits across the water that has just another way of thinking about things, another way of thinking about scrums. We love scrums, obviously. But I only look, there's a lot been said. And they started with the All Blacks. They've bounced back brilliantly over the last week. They had a dismal first test match, losing so big to the RGs. RG scoring the biggest score that any team has scored in New Zealand against the All Blacks, which was a massive statement. I always had the doubts if the RGs will be able to come back in the second test. It's always been their case. Putting 2 weeks performance like that in 2 weeks in a row would have been difficult. However, the All Blacks showed their class. They went back to kind of what they know best, and they really showed intensity in the second test. What went wrong in that first test, and what went right for them in the second?
Yeah, I think it was always been expected from them or anticipated that they will come back in the second test, and they did. They did very, very well. I think there's still a question mark whether Damien McKenzie is there for the long haul. I heard that they are calling on Richie Mo'unga to come back and perhaps take up his rightful place at number 10. But I think, Beric, in general, there's a lot of weaknesses in this All Black side. There's a lot of things to sort out. I don't think that their forwards is up to scratch to really slug it out with the Irish team or even the Springboks. And I think that is where things start. And then in the back line, you have just a mixed blend of players, almost like they are matching and placing. Bowden Barrett, not a true inside center. Although he can do the job, I believe he would probably be better out wide.
Jody Barrett. Jody Barrett.
Jody Barrett at number 12. My apologies. Rico Ioane, not necessarily a out and out outside center. And then I can continue with their loose forwards, where in the past they had Savaya, Kieran Reid, Jerome Kino, really guys that can take the game away when needs be. If it's wet, they keep it tight. They can link up. And for me, there's just a lot of players that is still fighting for a first selection or being a first choice in the All Black side. And that obviously makes them much weaker than what we've seen in the past.
100%. And just with that said, I mean, guys, they've lost massive players. I mean, if you look at Adam Smith, I still think Adam Smith at least had a season or two in him. You look at Whitelock that left. Obviously, Richie Mo'unga, going overseas and plying his trade in another country. But with that said, I mean, they've kind of faced the same issues, and it'll be teething problems. Them facing the fact that players want to go overseas, they're finding sabbaticals to go overseas and play a few months and come back, and that's always going to be an issue. So Africa is is in another, I almost think a very not only positive phase but a very healthy phase where we're at right now. We've realized we can't compare against the pound and all the euro at least, but with that said, we've been able to still make sure we can still tap into our players, make sure they can play for the Boks in that window that's allowed. The Boks in a new phase now, and with that said, there's a new evolution in their play as well. I think we've just seen a little bit so far. I think we haven't seen the full scope, especially this weekend when it was in rainy conditions. I'm still very impressed with the fact that they were still trying to do a couple of moves that were un-Bok-like, if you want to say it. And how exciting is that for us supporters, Boks supporters, to know that there's this new dynamic edge coming to the Springbok setup, not just the normal forward-based play.
Yeah, no, and it's really soft in the eye when they do get it right. I think you look at that try that they scored over the weekend with Makazole Mapimpi chipping ahead for Rassie to score. It just looks very slick, and I think they get more freedom to play what is in front of them. And when they do get it right, they do get it wide. And even a guy like Jesse Kriel now coming to the fore,
Yeah,
it really looks good. But it also comes with a lot of risk. I think they need to be able to retain the ball through phases. They have done that very well against Australia, but the true test will be against the All Blacks. There's no better team in world rugby that's going to hurt you on the counter attack, especially that the kick passes. You know, it's a risky business. Sacha has tried it. Pollard, and we know Mani is really good in the kick pass, kicking it to the wings. But if you get plugged out of the air or the All Blacks turn it around from there, all of a sudden you have backs against forwards, you have Peter Step deploy in the wider channels. Now you need to scramble. And I think that is the big test for this way of playing is being able to put the ball through 11, 12, 13 phases without knocking it on or without losing possession. Because if you do, especially with the big forwards that we do have against a team like the All Blacks, they can hurt you. We've seen it against the Irish, that the Irish plays it out of the back door, plays it out quickly, and then we need to scramble out wide. But on attack, certainly with the likes of Sacha Feinberg-Mngomezulu, Mani Lebok, Grant Williams, and the two scrum gap wingers, we really are dangerous team on attack.
Exciting times ahead, and with that said, I think the one name that's been on everybody's lips is Sacha Feinberg-Mngomezulu. I mean, this is like, I must say light because he's a young he's been brilliant this tournament. He's been absolutely. I know this guy didn't suit him this weekend. He had one or two situation where either he knocked the ball on, which was bread and butter for a guy as skillful as him. But what a find for Rassie, what a find for SA Rugby, and especially going into the World Cup, where we're looking, or the next World Cup, where we're looking at growing depth, but also guys with pure skill that were able to play in multiple positions. I think Rassie has really kind of made almost a point to look for that hybrid player, the kwagga that could easy slot onto wing if need be, if we are pushed into a situation. How much do you think Sacha will play a role going into the next 3 to 4 years of World Cup? Well, as we build to the next World Cup, how important do you think Sacha is going to be if he stays injury free?
Now he's going to be our number one player, and I think you look at him, the flair of Damian Willemse. He's got all the skills. He's got the swagger. He's got the maturity. I haven't seen a young player from South Africa taken to this stage as easily. I think the last player that really impressed me at this age was a guy like Francois Steyn, and we knew that Francois Steyn went on to play many tests, and he could play at centre, he could play at fullback. He's got a massive boot on him like Francois Steyn, and if needs be, you want to play the tight game, you can play the tight game with Sacha. I think he's more acclimatized to getting it wide and playing instinctive rugby, but he's going to be probably our best player, and he's going to be perhaps one of the best players in world rugby. He's got everything. He can attack. He kicks very, very fluently from whether he goes for touch, whether he kicks for poles. He just looks like a complete player. And when I watch him, it's probably like I'm watching a player that has been playing for 50 or more games for the Springboks. He looks so at home. And if push comes to shove, I'm pretty sure he'll push Pollard out of that number one position very, very soon. He's just a phenomenal player, and I do believe also a future Springbok captain.
Pretty cool, and I don't doubt that, because if you look at the videos came out on social media about a week ago, him just being at 13 years old, being this.
This being a little boy now.
Like he's 13 jaar oud. Hy maak speeches meer as wat beter as wat CEOs vandag kan maak, but he's just a class player. But without that, then we're going to close up, Aini. The fact that you have, and there has to be made mention of Peter Stef de Toy. What a player, what a stalwart for us. And, if you look at even Etzebeth, looking at, I think, 120 plus caps at the moment, heading towards, the probably the most capped Springbok of all time. And even is looking like he's 25 years old and, rushing up and charging balls down. It just shows, I think, the way Rassie has not only groomed this, this phase of players, but he's also managed them pretty well. I think that is also has to come to the fore, and to give him a lot of kudos for that in terms of how he's managed his players and also the new players coming up. Because that was the big question. Are the Boxing were able to at least beat the Aussies? And yet we came back with a full log of points from Australia.
Yeah, no, I think now we have players. You look at the selection, Rassie can go with what we believe are the number one players in the position, but we are not sure. Look at the wingers. You can play. Remember, Kane Moody is not part of the side yet. He needs to
100%.
come in.
Yeah.
The number ones are now Cheslin Colby and Kirtley Arendse, like you were saying. But on Peter Step the way, I think I almost want to say that the new style of play of the Springboks suit him even better because he can carry the ball slightly wider. You look at what he did on the he's out on the wing waiting for a kick pass on Saturday. Yeah. He carries the ball slightly wider, and I think he's a player that understands his game so well. He just does what he needs to do week in and week out, and that is what made him IRB World Player of the Year. And the one position, Alberic, that I'm concerned over, and that is going to be one position that we're going to watch going into the next few tests, is number 8. I think Elric Lowe has got his chance now. A lot of people thought that he's going to bang the door open. He hasn't done that. Now all of a sudden Jasper Wiese is back in the conversation. What happens? Does Jasper Wiese come straight in? We've seen, very surprisingly, they left out Ivan Roos, who I believe still deserves a fair chance in the number 8. So we're still looking for that Dwayne Vermeulen replacement. We haven't found one. And I still believe there's a chance here for a younger player that's perhaps boiling totally off the radar to come in and even trump Jasper, Ivan, and even Elric Lowe, because I don't believe that they have secured that position for themselves.
100%. And it's a pity Evan Roos is injured, but he will get a shot again. I think we have a lot of depth. Heini, we will be back again. We will be catching up again before the third round of the Rugby Championship. We'll look towards the All Blacks, the massive game against the All Blacks. It's going to be lekker. But yeah, guys, good to speak to you guys. Please drop a comment. Let us know what you guys think. And yeah, please subscribe to our channel. We'll see you guys soon.